characters are the protagonists of your movie. And when I say protagonists, I truly mean they're the protagonists. These are the characters that you follow. You are in their perspectives. They are your filter. If your protagonist is a villain, they are going to be either glorified or made sympathetic to some level, because they will not work as a protagonist if they aren't. I'm sorry, you Joker defenders, but I'm talking to you. Everybody wants to point out, it's weird with the Joker phenomena, the Joker movie. Anytime the woke Twitter mobs try to defend the Joker movie, you got people just knee-jerk reaction, defending it no matter what. No, 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 because they're really just against the Twitter mobs. They're not, you know, when they die down, they'll start to admit that the issues with the Joker movie and whatever. But look, I'm not going to watch the Joker movie. It may be a wonderful film, artistically made, as I've said. I've heard it is, I've heard it isn't from pretty reputable sources. But I did look at the synopsis of it. He is your protagonist. Don't stop telling me about, no, but the movie doesn't really, like, you know, it's not saying that it, you should feel sorry for him, but, you know, it's really bad what he does. And I don't care. You can say that all you want. He is your protagonist. The story wouldn't work. The story would not work if you didn't feel sorry for him in some measure and you weren't rooting for him in some measure. That's just the way stories work. Stop trying to deny it. And I hear people describe the movie and they say, well, yeah, you know, I mean, you know, it's about what the society did to him and stuff like that. So, yeah, things done to him. Things done to him. That's not the Joker, the elemental villain of the comics. Bad things are done to him. Let's feel sorry for him. Let's watch his, you know, his digression into madness. And that's such a shame. Yeah, it's bad what he's doing. That's just such a shame. No, that's not the experience you're supposed to be for the Joker. So I know that the Twitter mobs are trying to trigger people and trying to pit Cruella against the Joker. And people are rising to that bait all over the place. No, the Joker's amazing. Cruella sucks. You know, Joker's amazing. Guys, if you're having that argument with them, you're right where they want you, because you're arguing in either of those sides of the argument for a villain-centered film. This is what we need to get away from. I've said it many times. The fact that people were gung-ho for a villain-centered film in the Joker doesn't matter if there was no politics or no agenda or no woke nonsense going on. That paves the way for the Twitter mobs to go out and support their nonsense, Birds of Prey, Cruella movies, or whatever. We're normalizing and we're saying it's okay to have villains as the center of our films all the time now. And it's not. It's not a good trend. Once in a while, sure, maybe. But it was being done long before even the Joker film came about. And it's something that we need to get away from ultimately in our culture right now, because we're not in any kind of place where we can kind of level-headedly go and look at it every now and then as a foray into something new, because we can't even tell hero stories without trying to make them, you know, tear them down and make them, you know, give them some sort of villainous aspect or whatever. You know, we've talked about that a bunch. So looking at the specific examples that I talk about in the thumbnail there, you know, we talked a little bit about the Harley Quinn movie, even the WandaVision. Oh, people want to defend WandaVision. No, it's actually really well written. No, it's not. It's not. I read the synopsis because I heard from a bunch of people, it's actually a pretty good show. And, you know, I'm interested to see what they do with her character. And I'm reading the synopsis of the whole series and thinking she's a villain. Look at this horrible thing she's doing because of her selfish needs, her love for Vision. It's not even her love for an altruistic love for wanting to save the existence of Vision, really. No, it's her. She needs him. And this is the kind of self-centered actions that our movies, especially the woke culture, is trying to push on people. That no, you're great. You don't have to change. You don't have to better yourself. Just get mad at other people if they don't already accept you as you are. And when it comes to loving or needing people, well, that's dependent on your needs for them. You know, how much do you need them? It's not about actual self-sacrificing love or hero work for somebody else. No, serve your own needs. Serve your own. If you need to go ahead and mind control a whole town to make them think that that they're part of your community so that you can have your hubby and children that you want to grow up and just keep them, you can go ahead and victimize them and do all of that. It's fine. And in the end, the series won't even penalize you for it. we'll have Monica Rambeau tell you how amazing you are for that, and we'll have all this kind of other stuff go on. Guys, WandaVision's garbage. How can you defend this show? How can you possibly defend this show? It's garbage. And it is riddled with woke culture nonsense. It truly is. I don't know how people are defending that. They're just, again, they're desperate. They haven't had anything hero-wise on TV for a while, and then something hits the airwaves, and they're like, oh, it's not all bad. No, it's horrible. Get some standards. And it's part of the theme. It's part of the, she has this split, you know, there's this Scarlet Witch personality that's called, you know, they don't define it as much in the series, at least by the end of it, but it's the same thing, you know, well, there's another side to me. So Harley Quinn, you know, is mad, you know, her insanity is her other side that kind of takes over. And that's a cool aspect in terms of her as a villain. You know, there was a really great downloadable content for Arkham Knight. I think it was the Arkham Knight game, in which you could play as Harley in some of these maps. Like it was part of the prequel to the story. You were going to bust out Ivy from a police station over in Bloodhaven, I think it was. And she's a villain. So you're a villain. And as you're playing her, you can go into, like, you know, what's normally detective mode for Batman, but you go into basically insane mode, and you hear the different voices in her head. And you hear the Harley Quinn voice talking to the Dr. Harleen Quinzel voice. That's fascinating because she's a villain. She's a villain. She might have a redeemable, sympathetic side in there, but she's victimized into being a villain, or victimized. She's attacked by her own self into being a villain. That's it. So what happens though when you split that up, and what movies today are trying to do, like the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn film, is that they are trying to say, well, it's not her fault. It's that Harley Quinn side of her's fault. Or they're even trying to say, you know, in the Harley Quinn film, they're even taking it one step further and saying, well, the Harley Quinn side of her isn't mad and villainous. She's actually saving her. She's saving her from the evil opposition of little victim Harleen Quinzel. You know, the Harley Quinn side that's coming out and roaring and doing things for herself. She's saving her. So you've got this villainous side to you. Your id, your shadow, is suddenly being glorified as the thing that's going to save you in these films. And this is part of feminist, you know, modern day feminist message forever, right? Well-behaved women rarely make history. That's stupid bumper sticker. You know, it's a message that they've been preaching for a while. You can't, don't obey the rules. Don't obey the laws. Don't, you know, think about yourself. Don't think about anything in terms of self-serving others. No. That's how the man keeps you down. Just think about yourself and get out there and do that. I mean, as an actual hero yourself, you're called to maybe at one step see the world as a villain sees it, not so that you can stay there, so that you can learn how to pull the villain up out of that nonsense way of seeing the world and into her heroic way. But that's not what these films do. So we've seen that with Harley Quinn, and that's exactly what the WandaVision show is doing for Wanda Maximoff. She's been victimized all her life. Oh, with the Hydra and Sokovia, and then you know, they're even playing into it a little bit. Oh, well, even the Avengers were just using your power, you know, and this and that. And when are you standing up for Wanda? And when are you standing up for what she needs? And blah blah blah. And that's what she does in this series. And she just victimizes a bunch of people. She becomes this villainous, horrible person. Yes, you can argue that, you know, she did something sort of like this in the comics once or whatever. I haven't followed Scarlet Witch in the comics. That doesn't matter. The point is that this is part of the trend that the modern day films and television are trying to push on us as, hey, these are your heroes now. These are your heroes. I mean, the MCU, Kevin Feige and all of them, they have made it abundantly clear. They've come out and flat out said, no, women are at the forefront. Okay, women, what kind of women? Well, these kind of women that are good no matter what, and you just need to listen to them, and they don't need to lay down their lives for anybody because they've been victimized enough by the man, and it's just about them standing up for themselves finally. That's not a hero story. That's not a hero story. But this is the only kind of hero stories they're wanting to give us now. I did a video once talking about the Punisher and talking about the appeal of the anti-hero archetype. And it was just sort of an off the cuff, some general thoughts. I didn't really go deeply into it to do the analysis, but that's the appeal. It is fun to watch stories about somebody like the Punisher who just gets to this point where they snap. and they suddenly go out and they do break all the rules, and they're not being heroes. They're killing, they're acting out of vengeance. It's a little bit of catharsis for us to watch a show like that, because that's sort of our secret fantasy at some point. You know, when you're put upon, when you're persecuted in any kind of way, yeah, the easy answer is just to snap and just go crazy on them, you know, and take your revenge and be brutal and whatnot. But at some point, hopefully, you know, your logical self-control clicks in and says, maybe that's not the best and right thing to do, and maybe we should handle this a different way and be better than them and so forth. So a good anti-hero story, like something like The Punisher, or even like a Hulk film, you know, in that capacity or that context, does kind of let you live out that fantasy a little bit. But in the end, you can't glorify the hero to the point where that is the right choice that they made. It doesn't have to be a neat little moral that ties up. So therefore, kids, make sure you control your anger. No, it doesn't have to be like that. But like at the end of Punisher in the Netflix series, you know, starting out on Daredevil and then doing his own seasons and whatnot, he achieves his ends. But is he happy? Look at the status quo of him, or how he's living in the end. Is that really where you want to be? Is that really worth it? Is it really worth it to you to lose control and to take all of your selfish revenge on people who've wronged you and end up like that? No, you know, so even though it doesn't have to be tied up into a pretty little Victorian moral bow, you know, the shows can't glorify it to the extent, right? And that's what shows are doing now, though. I mean, you watch, you know, any of these, especially if the main character is a woman. Oh, she can do whatever she wants. She can mutilate. She can kidnap an entire town, keep them from their children, mind wipe them, control them, whatever. No consequences. She's fine. She's amazing. She's wonderful. They'll never know the sacrifice she made for them. What sacrifice? She didn't do anything for them. She was being selfish the entire time.